A microstate with just 39,584 people, yet it has an expected GDP of over 176,200 USD per capita by the end of 2023. How did Liechtenstein become so wealthy? In this video, we'll figure out the reasons behind Liechtenstein's success and take a look at some of the factors that have contributed to its prosperity. Stick around till the end to learn more about Liechtenstein's economic miracle. Liechtenstein is a teeny-tiny European nation that might not have the landmass of some of its neighbors, but it definitely punches above its weight in terms of wealth. It's actually the fourth smallest country in Europe, after Vatican City, Monaco, and San Marino. But when it comes to GDP per capita, it's second in the world, right after Monaco. Let's rewind the clock to the mid-19th century to understand how it all happened. Liechtenstein had an incredible knack for staying independent during Europe's turbulent history. While empires crumbled and nations rose and fell, Liechtenstein somehow remained untouched. But don't be too impressed just yet. The reason wasn't that Liechtenstein was some mighty fortress. It was simply too small and unimportant to be on anyone's radar. In fact, the ruling family of Liechtenstein was so nonchalant about their little industry that they didn't even bother visiting until 1842, over a century after they acquired the land, just to score some voting rights in the Holy Roman Empire. So, you could say Liechtenstein's independence was more about being overlooked than it was about flexing its muscles. But here's where the story gets interesting. Despite its nominal independence, Liechtenstein was economically fragile. It teamed up with the Austro-Hungarian Empire for support, relying heavily on its bigger neighbor for food and supplies. It also lured Swiss textile manufacturers to set up shop, marking the baby steps of industrialization. However, things moved at a snail's pace, mainly because Liechtenstein's tricky geography made it expensive to transport goods and people. But that was just the beginning of their troubles. World War I rocked the boat big time. Liechtenstein found itself cut off from Austro-Hungary, which was struggling mightily. Despite its neutrality, Liechtenstein was lumped in with the Central Powers and hit with a harsh economic embargo by the Allied powers. Food stopped flowing in, jobs dried up abroad, and the collapse of Austria-Hungary left the country without a monetary system. The Swiss textile industry packed its bags and left, and Liechtenstein was stuck with a hefty debt from financing food imports during the war. So, in a nutshell, Liechtenstein was broke and broken by the end of World War I. But they weren't about to throw in the towel. Instead, they smartly joined forces with Switzerland in a customs union. Switzerland knew it was sort of a rescue mission, but Liechtenstein's size made it an affordable rescue. This union stabilized Liechtenstein, hooked them up with the Swiss franc, and opened the door to a larger, more advanced economy. It was like giving them a lifeline, with extra help from Prince Johann II and a big gamble on a hydroelectric power plant. Liechtenstein started moving toward industrialization. Despite their tiny population, they welcomed manufacturing companies and focused on producing high-quality, specialized goods. They have had a thriving industrial sector known for producing high-quality, low-volume products. It is in stark contrast to nations focused on mass production. It's no wonder that specialized manufacturing in Liechtenstein includes precision instruments, dental equipment, and cutting-edge manufacturing tools. The nation excels in producing items that require a high degree of precision and craftsmanship. These industries are well suited for Liechtenstein because they demand skilled labor, and the nation can afford to pay high wages due to its wealth. After all, it's the nation's higher education standards, coupled with sound tax policies and lucrative businesses, that drive the wealth of its population. In this regard, Liechtenstein could be seen as a boutique workshop, catering to the world's demand for quality. But it wasn't just industry that made Liechtenstein's pockets deep. Their financial and banking sector became a major player, and the nation became a tax haven for the rich and famous. With political stability, strict banking privacy laws, and a reputation for getting things done, it was the place to stash your cash. Simply, we can say that Liechtenstein is a magnet for international businesses and wealthy individuals looking for tax-efficient structures and secure banking services. Swiss financial institutions have set up subsidiaries in Liechtenstein to cater to the demand for banking secrecy and complex company structures. The nation's finance sector is, in essence, a 160 square kilometer accounting firm offering an array of services for wealthy clients and companies. Notably, Liechtenstein has more registered companies than citizens, making it the only nation with this distinction. This striking ratio illustrates how the country has become a hub for corporate services. It's also home to approximately 90 lawyers serving as management nominees for around 7,000 companies. This astounding statistic underscores the nation's status as a convenient hub for international financial matters. Then, Liechtenstein scored some big international wins, like joining the European Free Trade Association, the European Economic Area, and the World Trade Organization. These moves opened up global trade opportunities for this little country and boosted its manufacturing sector. Liechtenstein's tiny population is no longer a roadblock. It's a strength. In fact, it's the key to the nation's super high income and ability to offer top-notch healthcare and education while keeping taxes low. The cherry on top was the country's ability to overcome rough patches, like a spot on the OECD's blacklist due to shady financial business. They shook off the negativity and continued their economic rise. And what's truly remarkable about this country is its implementation of a wealth tax. Now you might wonder, what's so special about a wealth tax? Well, unlike most countries that primarily tax your income, Liechtenstein takes a different route. They assess taxes based on your net worth, including everything from stocks to real estate. In 2019, they used an assumed return rate of about 4%. So if you had $100 billion in assets, you'd be taxed on an assumed income of $4 billion. For the ultra-wealthy, this can add up significantly. But Liechtenstein's approach to this wealth tax isn't set in stone. It's quite flexible. They base it on global market performance. Liechtenstein might decide not to levy this tax if the stock market isn't doing so well or remains stagnant. They get that most people's wealth hasn't seen massive growth during that period. This adaptable approach makes Liechtenstein's wealth tax model one of the best in the world. Now let's clarify. This wealth tax applies only to Liechtenstein's citizens, not to the companies withholding entities within the nation. It's an innovative and flexible tax policy showcasing Liechtenstein's unique taxation approach. Today, Liechtenstein is a true success story. It's not just small. It's got one of the highest incomes, longest life expectancies, and excellent global human development index rankings. Its citizens enjoy top-notch healthcare and education without breaking the bank. And it's all thanks to their ability to turn a challenging history into a modern-day fairy tale of prosperity. The big lesson here is that even the tiniest nations can achieve remarkable economic heights with clever policies, international cooperation, and a sprinkle of financial wizardry. Liechtenstein's journey is a talking proof of resilience, smart decision-making, and maximizing available resources.